Pharaoh Akhenaten, a name that echoes through the annals of ancient history, was a ruler like no other. Born in the mid-14th century BC, around 1368 BC, his birth year remains shrouded in mystery. What we do know is that he was the son of Pharaoh Amenhotep III and his chief wife, Queen Tiye. Initially named Amenhotep IV, he later adopted the name Akhenaten, a name that would come to signify a radical shift in Egyptian religion and culture. Akhenaten's early life is largely undocumented, but his ascent to the throne was a significant turning point. His father, Amenhotep III, had ruled Egypt for nearly 4 decades, bringing prosperity and stability. Akhenaten, however, had different plans. Upon his father's death, he ascended the throne and quickly began to implement changes that would leave an indelible mark on Egypt. One of the most striking aspects of Akhenaten's reign was his devotion to the sun deity Aten. Unlike the multitude of gods worshipped in Egypt, Aten was depicted as a sun disk with rays extending down, each ray ending in a hand. This was a stark contrast to the anthropomorphic gods of traditional Egyptian religion. Akhenaten declared Aten to be the supreme deity, a move that many scholars interpret as an early form of monotheism, or, more accurately, monolatry, where one god is worshipped above all others. This radical shift did not come without controversy. Akhenaten ordered the construction of a new capital city, Akhetaten, known today as Amarna. Located on the east bank of the Nile, it was dedicated entirely to the worship of Aten. The city was designed to reflect his religious vision, with open-air temples that allowed the rays of the sun to penetrate, symbolizing Aten's omnipresence. In addition to his religious reforms, Akhenaten also introduced a unique artistic style. The art of the Amarna period is characterized by its departure from the idealized forms of previous eras. Statues and reliefs depicted Akhenaten with elongated features, a rounded belly, and a more naturalistic appearance. This new style extended to portrayals of his family, including his wife, the famous Queen Nefertiti, and their children. The royal family was often shown in intimate, affectionate poses, a significant departure from traditional depictions of Egyptian royalty. As Akhenaten's reign progressed, he became increasingly zealous in his devotion to Aten. He ordered the defacement of other gods' names and images from temples and monuments across Egypt. This iconoclasm extended even to the powerful god Amun, whose temples were among the most prominent in Egypt. Akhenaten's religious fervor alienated many of the traditional priests and nobles, leading to growing discontent. Despite the controversies, Akhenaten's reign was also marked by diplomatic efforts and military campaigns. He maintained correspondence with other powerful rulers of the time, as evidenced by the Amarna letters, a collection of clay tablets discovered in the ruins of his capital. These letters provide valuable insights into the international relations of the period, revealing alliances and conflicts with neighboring kingdoms. Akhenaten's focus on Aten was not merely a religious shift, but also a political maneuver. By centralizing worship on Aten and reducing the influence of other gods, he weakened the power of the traditional priesthood, particularly the priests of Amun, who held significant sway in Thebes. This move allowed Akhenaten to consolidate power and reduce potential threats to his rule from within the religious establishment. The new capital, Akhetaten, was not just a religious center, but also a statement of Akhenaten's power and vision. The city's layout, with its grand temples and palaces, was designed to reflect the centrality of Aten in all aspects of life. The city's art and architecture, characterized by its realism and attention to detail, offered a glimpse into the everyday lives of the royal family and their devotion to Aten. This artistic revolution was as significant as the religious changes, marking a departure from the rigid and formal styles that had dominated Egyptian art for centuries. As the years passed, Akhenaten's health began to decline. Some scholars believe he may have suffered from a genetic disorder, possibly Marfan syndrome, which could explain his distinctive physical appearance. In the 12th year of his reign, a plague swept through Egypt, claiming the lives of several members of the royal family, including 3 of his daughters. The disease may have also contributed to Akhenaten's own death around 1336 BC. Following Akhenaten's death, Egypt experienced a swift return to its traditional religious practices. His successor, The young Tutankhamun, who is believed to be his son, worked to restore the old gods and dismantle the Aten cult. Amarna was abandoned, and efforts were made to erase Akhenaten's legacy. His name and the names of his immediate successors were omitted from official king lists, and many of his monuments were defaced or repurposed. Yet, despite these efforts to obliterate his memory, Akhenaten's impact on history remains profound. His experiment with monotheism foreshadowed later religious developments in the region. Some historians even suggest that his ideas may have influenced the monotheistic beliefs that would emerge in the Levant centuries later. The story of Akhenaten is not just one of religious zeal, but also of political intrigue, cultural transformation, and personal tragedy. His attempt to reshape Egypt's spiritual landscape was bold and unprecedented, reflecting a vision that went beyond the traditional boundaries of Egyptian society. His reign, though short-lived, left an indelible mark on the history of Egypt and the world. In addition to his religious and artistic contributions, Akhenaten's reign was marked by significant political and military activities. His foreign policy, as revealed by the Amarna letters, was characterized by a complex network of alliances and rivalries. These letters, written in cuneiform, provide a rare glimpse into the diplomatic relations of the time, revealing how Akhenaten navigated the intricate web of power dynamics in the ancient Near East. Akhenaten's diplomatic efforts were aimed at maintaining Egypt's dominance in the region. He managed to secure alliances with powerful neighbors and vassal states, ensuring the flow of trade and tribute into Egypt. His correspondence with other rulers, such as the kings of Assyria, Babylon, and the Hittite Empire, highlights the geopolitical landscape of the time and Akhenaten's role in it. Despite his focus on religion, Akhenaten did not neglect military matters. His reign saw several military campaigns, particularly in Nubia, where his forces quelled rebellions and secured Egypt's southern borders. These campaigns, though less documented than his religious reforms, were crucial in maintaining Egypt's territorial integrity and influence. Midway through Akhenaten's reign, it's important to take a moment to remind our viewers. If you're enjoying this deep dive into history, please subscribe to Historical Highway. Your support helps us bring more fascinating stories from the past to life. The decline of Akhenaten's health and the outbreak of plague in Egypt marked a tumultuous period for the kingdom. The loss of several royal family members to the plague added to the challenges facing Akhenaten's administration. Despite these hardships, Akhenaten remained dedicated to his religious vision, continuing to promote the worship of Aten until his death. The death of Akhenaten marked the end of an era. His successor, Tutankhamun, was a child when he ascended the throne, and his advisors quickly moved to restore the traditional religious practices. This restoration was not just a return to old ways, but a deliberate attempt to erase Akhenaten's influence from history. Temples dedicated to Aten were dismantled, and the city of Amarna was abandoned, its buildings left to decay in the desert. Tutankhamun's reign, though short, was pivotal in reversing Akhenaten's reforms. The young pharaoh's advisors, many of whom were former priests of Amun, played a crucial role in re-establishing the traditional religious order. This period saw the reinstatement of the old gods and the removal of Aten from public worship. Despite the concerted efforts to erase Akhenaten's legacy, his impact on Egyptian history could not be entirely undone. The unique artistic style of the Amarna period, characterized by its realism and departure from traditional forms, continued to influence Egyptian art long after his death. Moreover, the theological debates sparked by Akhenaten's monotheistic tendencies echoed through the centuries, influencing later religious thought in the region. Akhenaten's story is one of visionary ambition, religious fervor, and the inevitable resistance to change. His reign challenged the established norms and set the stage for significant cultural and religious transformations. While his experiment with monotheism was ultimately short-lived, it left a lasting legacy that continues to fascinate historians and scholars today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and reign of Pharaoh Akhenaten. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who love history. Don't forget to subscribe to Historical Highway for more captivating stories from the past. See you next time.